again, everyone. I'm Storm Team 9 Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson, and this is Weather or Not. I hope you've had a chance to settle into the groove of a new year. With the arrival of January comes a variety of weather in eastern North Carolina. Visitors to our state are often surprised to learn that some days in January can be quite warm, but cold weather is usually not too far away. And whenever the temperature drops, we're tempted to turn the thermostat up, but make sure you do it safely.
Whenever winter comes around, people will turn to many different heating sources such as electric, wood, and gas. However, there are some important safety precautions that you should take when heating your home. If you're using an electric space heater, then make sure you keep anything that can burn at least 3 feet away from it. Always keep the heater upright. A lot of modern space heaters have automatic shutoffs that trigger if the heater were to tip over. If you have one of these, then make sure it functions properly. Never plug a portable heater into an extension cord or power strip. Before you leave your home or go to sleep, make sure you power off the heater to prevent accidents. If you're in the market for a new space heater, choose a well-known, reputable brand. Many people choose to heat with a fireplace or wood stove using hardwood as their source of fuel. If you're one of these people, then make sure you have your chimney inspected regularly, ensuring there are no obstructions. Place a glass or metal screen in front of the fireplace to prevent embers or sparks from jumping out. Never burn paper in your fireplace or wood stove, as lightweight paper embers can float away, landing somewhere in your home. Always put the fire out before you leave or go to bed. Put the ashes in a metal can outside at least 10 feet from the building. And just like with the space heater, keep burnable objects at least 3 feet away. If you choose to heat with kerosene or propane, then make sure you have a properly functioning carbon monoxide detector. When using gas logs or other types of propane heaters, have a professional inspect it every year to ensure that it works properly. When using a kerosene heater, make sure you have one that will automatically shut off if it tips over. Always refuel your heater outside, but make sure it has cooled off completely before doing so. If you're looking to buy a new gas heater, make sure you choose one that has a good reputation. Fire and heat are nothing to play around with, so if you're not sure about something, then just stop and call a professional. It's better to play it safe than sorry.
As cold as the weather can sometimes be around here, it's nothing compared to northern states. But these states are not simply known for their frigid winters. Some of them boast some of the most beautiful scenery in the entire country, especially if the season is right.
This week's adventure looks a little bit different. This week, I'm taking you to New York to show you a little piece of my life outside of eastern North Carolina. Today, we are going to the Hudson Valley, filled with towns big and small with attractions for everyone. Typically, just an hour train ride outside of New York City, it is filled with gorgeous views of the Hudson River and all the mountains that surround it. With many different hiking trails that take you up mountains along the river or small towns that you can walk around and enjoy shopping in local stores, lots of antique stores and restaurants that will fill whatever craving you might have. With beautiful views like fellow American Conference Team Army West Point, there is plenty to do along the river. The Hudson River runs through the Hudson Valley, giving people the opportunity to swim, fish, and go boating, but is also known for being considered brackish water. In the Hudson Valley, the Hudson River is considered an estuary because it is where fresh water from upstream mixes with salty water from the Atlantic Ocean, similar to the Pamlico River here in eastern North Carolina. With plenty of things to do through all the towns along the river, the Hudson Valley is a beautiful place that I call home. I'm Storm Team 9 meteorologist Olivia Monteleone. Thank you for traveling with me outside of eastern North Carolina, and I will see you next week for our next adventure.
Hollywood has a long history of exploring temperature extremes. Weather-related action movies are a cinematic staple, and sometimes it seems the more ridiculous the plot, the higher the box office.
2012 was a 2009 American apocalyptic film. The plot follows multiple characters, including novelist Jackson Curtis and geologist Adrian Helmsley, as they struggle to survive an apocalyptic sequence of events, including earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, mega tsunamis, and a global flood. Helmsley visits astrophysicists in India and learns that previously undiscovered types of neutrino from a solar flare is heating the Earth's core. He returns to Washington to alert the White House, and a year later, 46 nations begin building 9 arcs in the Himalayas. Character Charlie Frost predicts that the end of the world is in 2012. Many events occur, and Curtis takes the warning seriously after witnessing several signs that seem to confirm it. The Yellowstone Lake is dried up and fenced off by the United States Army. The Pacific Coast suffers a catastrophic 10.9 magnitude earthquake along the San Andreas Faults. The Yellowstone caldera erupts, bringing deadly volcanic ash that engulfs Las Vegas, and the planet's crust shifts, killing billions of people. With those 42 nations that were prepared for these dramatic and deadly events, they had the arcs waiting in the Himalayan mountains. As people made it to these arcs, the massive mega tsunami is approaching, and we see that there were some complications with the gate mechanism, preventing it from closing completely and disabling the ship's engine. However, they dislodge the tool and the crew regains control of the ark, and 27 days later, the water starts receding. Now, these events are weather phenomena that do occur, but is it possible for this to happen to this? No. The catastrophic, rapid global destruction in the movie isn't scientifically possible. The idea of neutrinos from the sun could suddenly cook the Earth's core is pseudoscience. Tectonic plates move extremely slowly, only centimeters per year, so they can't suddenly shift continents or creating massive rifts globally in days. A tsunami overwhelming Mount Everest is beyond physically plausible, though large tsunamis from asteroid impacts or massive underwater landslides are possible, just not on that scale or frequency.
Now from science fiction to science fact. We're certainly familiar with hurricanes in eastern North Carolina. Our local history books are filled with devastating names, but we're not the only state to deal with hurricanes. And sometimes hurricane effects reach much farther north than you might think.
Hurricane Earl was a long-lived tropical cyclone that became the 5th named storm of the 2010 tropical season. Earl developed from a tropical wave west of the Cape Verde Islands on August 25th, quickly strengthened into a tropical storm, and then became a hurricane on August 29th near the Lesser Antilles Islands. Earl became a major hurricane on August 30th as it moved past the Leeward Islands. After a temporary weakening trend, the storm quickly reorganized and reached its peak intensity of 145 miles per hour, a Category 4 hurricane on September 2nd as it moved east of the Bahamas and well east of Florida. As the storm started to curve more to the north and northeast, it slowly weakened over cooler sea surface temperatures and passed about 85 miles east of Cape Hatteras during the morning of Friday, September 3rd, 2010. Earl then accelerated northeastward, making landfall over Nova Scotia as a Category 1 hurricane. Damage estimated at over $40 million occurred in the Leeward Islands with 1 fatality. In North Carolina, only moderate damage occurred over the Outer Banks, with damage estimates of about $3.8 million. No fatalities were reported in North Carolina as a result of Earl. Hurricane Earl was the second major hurricane of the 2010 Atlantic hurricane season. As Earl traveled the open Atlantic Ocean waters northeast of the Bahamas, hurricane warnings were issued for eastern North Carolina and the Outer Banks, with tropical storm watches and warnings to the north and south of North Carolina. The center of Earl passed roughly 95 miles east of Cape Hatteras. Earl's large size brought a significant storm surge to the Outer Banks, along with hurricane-force winds. The highest winds were recorded at Buxton, with sustained winds of 67 miles per hour and gusts of 83 miles per hour. A storm surge of nearly 5 feet inundated areas around Hatteras Island, shutting down Highway 12. Heavy rain accompanied the storm, with 4.5 feet measured in Cape Hatteras. Numerous homes around Hatteras were flooded by rising waters. Despite the large area of hurricane-force winds, wind damage was moderate. with mostly homes losing shingles and minor damage to businesses along the Outer Banks. Damage in Dare County totaled $500,000, with 79 houses sustaining minor damage and another 6 receiving major damage, mainly due to storm surge. In Hyde County, strong winds caused about $2 million in crop damage and some fallen trees around Swan Quarter.
Time to take a little break, a trivia break to be exact. 8 questions, 2 minutes. Good luck. You know, games are a good way to unwind after a long day, especially if you can get everyone involved. And what better way to pique someone's interest than to talk about chocolate? Master Chocolatier is a board game published by Next Move. It can accommodate 2 to 4 players, and a typical game takes about 30 to 45 minutes. The game's premise is simple. You control a candy factory, and your goal is to strategically fill your boxes with chocolate. At the start of a round, chocolate tiles with various designs are randomly placed on the factory display boards. The turn order tile is placed in the center of the table. To begin your turn, pick a chocolate design of your choice and take all of the corresponding tiles from a single factory board or from a pile in the center of the table. If you're the first player to take tiles from the center of the table, you must also take the turn order tile. Once you've selected your chocolate tiles, decide which production line to fill on your player board. You may choose any line, but only one particular chocolate design can go on one line at a time. If you have too many tiles to fit that line, any extras must be placed on the penalty tracker. Players continue to alternate back and forth, selecting and placing chocolate tiles on their lines until all the available tiles are gone. It's now time for players to score the round. For every filled line in your box, players place the corresponding chocolate in the candy box. A point is scored for each box tile in a connecting line, either vertically or horizontally. The score is recorded along the scoring track. Players must also deduct any penalties listed at the bottom of their board. After the scoring is complete, players begin a new round with fresh chocolate tiles. Whoever holds the turn order tile goes first in the new round. The game continues like this until one player fills at least one horizontal candy box row. At the end of the game, there are special bonuses that can be awarded if certain objectives are met. The player with the most total points wins. All that talk of chocolate made me think of Valentine's Day, which is not too far away, incidentally. And before you know it, it will be spring. But it doesn't have to be springtime to be windy.
Whether it was a refreshing summer breeze or a bitter winter storm, we have all experienced wind. But have you ever wondered where wind comes from or what makes it travel in a certain direction? Well, today that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Wind is simply defined as the movement of air. Something called pressure gradient force is what gets the wind started. The term gradient is just a fancy word for difference. So the difference in atmospheric pressure is the force that drives the wind. Let me explain. Due to the uneven distribution of heat and sunlight on Earth, there are always high and low pressure systems in the atmosphere. High pressure refers to cool air sinking towards Earth's surface, whereas low pressure refers to warm air near the surface rising high into the atmosphere. So cool sinking air leaves high pressure and will travel towards the Earth, warming up on its way. But it must go somewhere. When it meets the surface, it is forced to move horizontally. Here, the wind is born. From there, the newly warmed air moves towards low pressure because that is the path of least resistance. This is called divergence. Just like with high pressure, when the air meets at the low pressure center, it must go somewhere, so it rises. This is called convergence. The air then cools and condenses, and the cycle goes on. As you can imagine, the greater the pressure gradient, or difference if you will, the greater the wind speed. So that was the easy part. Now what causes wind direction? First off, we have the Coriolis force. This is the deflection of objects due to Earth's rotation. In the northern hemisphere, objects are deflected to the right, whereas in the southern hemisphere, they are deflected to the left. This is what causes air to move counterclockwise around low pressure and clockwise around high pressure in the northern hemisphere. Next, we have friction. Due to the rough texture of Earth's surface, there will always be a frictional force associated with wind. Wind directions caused by friction are a little harder to forecast due to the many objects which could deflect the moving air. These include mountains, trees, buildings, and so on and so forth. Friction also plays a factor in wind speed. Wind dragging across the Earth's surface gets slowed down significantly as compared to the upper levels of the atmosphere where there is little to no friction. So the next time you feel the wind, you'll have a little bit better understanding of where that came from.
Whether it's a breezy day or a calm day, there's always some wildlife stirring somewhere in eastern North Carolina. Now, many folks prefer bird watching, but you can also learn a lot by studying those critters who like to run on the ground.
There are two species of foxes found in eastern North Carolina, the gray fox and the red fox. And today, we will just focus on the gray fox. Of the two species, the gray fox is the only one native to the state. Gray foxes live in a variety of habitats such as wooded areas, swamps, and even open farmland. They are omnivores, meaning they feed on both plants and animals ranging from fruits and berries to mice and rabbits. Gray foxes are mostly nocturnal, however they have been known to forage throughout the day. Despite having a wide vocal range, gray foxes do not howl. Instead, they produce a sequence of barks, growls, and even screams. They have relatively short lifespans of only 1 to 2 years in the wild. In fact, their annual mortality rate is about 50%. With numbers like these, you would think they would be endangered, but gray foxes mate in January and February, producing about 3 to 5 pups which are born in the spring. By the time they reach adulthood in the fall, they venture away from their den sites to find new territory. Even though coyote populations have been on the rise for the past few years, gray fox populations don't seem to be affected all that much. Scientists credit this to the gray fox's ability to quickly escape predators. And one way they do this is by climbing trees. When you think about the canine family, you probably don't think about them climbing, but thanks to the gray fox's sharp, semi-retractable claws, they can move to higher ground rather quickly. So the next time you try to find a fox, you might want to look up. In the studio, I'm meteorologist Christopher Tyndall, Storm Team 9.
You know, kids naturally take an interest in the great outdoors and all the animals that live there. Through the years, I've learned that some of our weather kids have some pretty interesting pets. Our weather kid this week is Grayson. You have to move fast to keep up with him because he enjoys so many things, and he's really into racing. What do you want to be when you grow up?
A race car driver.
He also has an interesting hobby. He enjoys learning the flags of the world.
The globe and the country and the flag.
In school, Grayson enjoys mathematics.
Area and perimeter.
Of course, weather is a topic that relies heavily on math, and Grayson showed a lot of poise on the green screen.
Hello guys, my name is Grayson. 1 to 3 inches. In Edgecombe, it could be 1 to 3 inches. Dangerous driving conditions. I think could lead to power outages.
As you can see, Grayson had a great time visiting the set. And if you would like for your child to become a Storm Team 9 weather kid, just send me an email to jjackson@WNCT.com and I'll explain the whole process. For the Storm Team 9 Weather Kids, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson. Class dismissed. Well, that does it for another edition of Weather or Not. I hope you enjoyed our visit up north, learned some weather history, played a few games, and learned how to stay more comfortable in the cold winter months. Be sure you check back right here each week for a fresh episode. And remember, our job is to always keep you informed, enlightened, and a little happier too. I'm Storm Team 9 Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson, and this is Weather or Not.